I, 17M, just found my mother's suicide note. I don't know what to do. Help. Hello, everyone. Sorry for my lack of structure as this happened just now and I am on the verge of breaking down, but I just don't have the strength to anymore for the sake of my sanity. For a long time I knew that my mother was unhappy in her marriage with my father. Every day they would fight in front of me and my younger brother, 9M. My mother would accuse him of cheating, being emotionally distant and not supportive of her, which is all true and I cannot deny that. My mother is also in the wrong as she is bipolar and places the blame on her not having a career on my grandfather and my father, even though it is her responsibility. She would also constantly remind me of the sacrifices that she made staying in her crappy marriage just so I could have a stable house and a mother. For the record, I live in a country where the father gets child custody regardless of situation. I am not saying that my father is abusive or anything. He is kind and just to me, not so much to my mother. But he's not a dad, just a father, if that makes sense. We share the same blood, but not the same bond. Just yesterday, 11 petameters, she suggested to my father a marriage counselor, to which of course he rejected the idea and started another fight, which is always me and my brother had to witness. She came to my room and told me that she was going to rent an apartment away from my father and told me whether I alongside my brother wanted to go with her, making me choose between my father and her. I did not choose this time. As for the majority of my life, she kept telling me that she was getting a divorce and making me choose, only for my choices to mean crap as they always remained married. This time I told her I didn't have the strength anymore to choose, and unless she has a plan set out, then I would go with her.
That meant having an apartment and a contract regarding rent.
I don't think I was asking for too much. She instantly started crying and telling me about her crumbling marriage, to which I listened to for the 1000th time, before snapping and telling her that what she and my father were doing is hurting me emotionally. And I told her that she should be talking to my brother, not me, as I will move out soon. My father went to bed as usual and my mother quietly wrote in her diary. After a while she went to bed, before telling me that it is my responsibility to study hard and look after my brother. I saw her keep her diary under her laptop. Under suspicion I opened the diary and 3 papers fell out, and to my horror it was a suicide note, blaming my father for everything and talking about how her staying in this world was only hurting the children. She then starts writing about how she threw away her life, career and time for him. At the end she blamed him for her death and left it at that. I am currently awake, trying to stay up. I have no one to talk to as my family is sleeping. I can't sleep because I don't want my mother to sneak out of her bedroom to kill herself, and I can't wake up my brother because I don't want him to see it. I am lost and all I have is the internet. Should I leave the note? Give it to my father when he wakes up after 8 hours? I don't know what to do, and the only thing keeping me crying is from the lack of sleep I have. Is there a suicide hotline in your country? https://wikipedia.org/wiki/list-off-suicide crisis lines. WPROV=SFLA1. Okay, as someone who has been suicidal, had a plan, ready to do it, just writing a note doesn't mean she's going to go through with it. Please go wake up your mom. Not your dad, not the police. Go to your mom. I know you're only 17, but you need to let her know that you're worried about her. Lie. Tell her you bumped the table and it knocked her laptop and diary off, and while you caught the laptop, letters fell out of her diary when it fell to the floor. Let her know that you support her getting divorced. Let her know that she is a good mother, that she can still do so much. Growing is forever, and it's hard. Sometimes you get planted in soil that makes growing hard, but everyone can keep growing. Keep learning. Keep moving forward. Tell her how much you love her. Hug her. Just because she wrote it doesn't mean she'll do it. But it does mean that she feels low, and knowing she has her son's support to seek a divorce may help give her the courage to do it. As everyone else has given you excellent advice as to what to do right now, I'm not going to repeat it. I do want, however, to be sure to tell you that while this is a problem that affects you, and it is very serious, it's not your problem. Your mother has a serious illness. You are not qualified to fix that problem. Your mother needs professional help. If she is already seeing a psychiatrist and is taking medication, she may need to have her doctor adjust her medication. People with her illness, and my daughter is one of those people, do sometimes die of the disease. We call it suicide, and we often react as if they're doing it as to punish us. But that's not really how that works. In some ways it's kind of like cancer. It needs a lot of treatment. Sometimes the treatment sucks even when it's working, and sometimes it just isn't enough. I am very sorry you're having to go through this right now. I hope your mother survives this dark, painful time, and is able to get effective treatment and get stable. I hope you have her in your life for many more years. If, however, this disease takes her away from you, please remember that it's not your fault. You do not have the ability to fix this any more than you have the ability to do surgery on her. None of this is your burden to carry. Even if she does manage to struggle through and survive this, which is honestly the most likely outcome, this is going to be hard on all of you. It is normal to feel love, fear, grief, anger, resentment, and pain. It's normal to feel all of those things towards each of your relatives, and sometimes even to feel all of those things at once. You are clearly a loving child to your mother and a good person. As one relative of an immediate family member with bipolar disorder to another, please remember to not take responsibility for your mother's illness. I know it's hard. It feels like you should be able to do something to fix this or make her better. That feeling is a lie. You can assist, support, help, love, but ultimately this is a private struggle between your mother and her illness. Good luck, and all of my best wishes to you. My mom killed herself over a man just 3 years ago. Please go talk to her about it and tell her how you'd feel. She needs to know she's so loved and more than enough. Don't tell your dad if he's gonna be mean to her about it, please. That's not good advice if he's gonna bully her in hopes to make it happen. Some people are that evil. Or treat her like she did it for attention. Just tell her how much you love her, nothing else. Don't tell her she is wrong. Don't treat her like anything but loved. Hug her tightly, let her cry to you and vent to you. I know you're so young, but please. The night my mom hung herself, she went into my younger brother's room to vent, and he told her he was tired of her shit and that he was trying to sleep. She went and hung herself in the apartment gym. Just go hug her and whisper that you found her note and you love her, and life without her would be so much worse, and you need her and you support her. Sorry for the rant, babe, this just hit home for me. Call your mom's family. If not them, then your dad. Don't try to deal with this alone. Talk to your mom after you have informed some adults about this. Call the police if the adults don't act. She needs emotional support. She's been doing this for years. Up and down. Trying to decide when it's a good time to leave. Not leaving could mean she doesn't have the courage, and staying may mean she really is hoping your dad's communication improves. But she needs to learn to be self-sufficient and reliant. She needs someone to show and tell her and help her practice taking small steps towards independence. If she feels she sacrifices a lot, then tell her to do something that she likes. A hobby, meet some friends, try a new skill. I know you are being honest with your mom, and that is sometimes what is necessary to push her, but she also needs some encouragement. She can't always blame people for her life, but like you said, fathers get custody no matter what. I'm a parent and I cannot handle the thought of losing my children simply for my happiness. Please try to understand how emotionally complicated this gets. Don't cry, go encourage her. Call the suicide hotline and talk to them. They're the experts and this is way out of Reddit's depth. Good luck! Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. This is not your responsibility to manage. You're the child here. You poor thing. You need to tell your dad. Wake him up if you need to. If it turns into a crisis situation, contact emergency services. Contact suicide support line for advice specific to your country, as other poster said. Thinking of you all. Tell your mom you found the note and talk to her about it. Let her know you read it and let her know that she doesn't need to be loved by your dad because everyone loves her more than anything. Someone close to me witnessed their mother unsuccessfully attempt suicide multiple times. Please contact the hotline if you can. If not, just sit down with your mother. My mom vents to me and she tells me it helps a huge amount. Even a simple, "I love you," or "I'm here," can help. As someone who's depressed, I can verify that. Wake your father up. Suicide note is never to be taken lightly. Do you know if your mother has taken any medication before going to sleep? Does she have sleeping pills in her side table or anything she could use to hurt herself? She might need urgent care. I'm so sorry this is happening. No one should have to deal with this. You can't keep it to yourself though. The situation need professional help. Call the hotlines. Another commenter has posted they will guide you better than Reddit as to what steps to take right now. Firstly up, you are a strong person. Continue to be supportive even though it might be difficult at times. Your energy could very well be the reason she comes out of all this. Maybe you could both move out together on one of the pleasant days, with no fight or anything, just to try a different way of living. Telling her about the note would embarrass her, so you have to tell it to somebody else, as others here have indicated. You need to call the police. Or your dad. Does she have a close friend? She needs someone there in case. A suicide note isn't just because she plans on doing something now or soon. Wake your dad up. You shouldn't be bearing the weight of this on your own. You need a parent and he's right there. If it were my kid in this situation, I'd hope he'd wake me up so I could help him and my spouse. I'm so sorry you're in this predicament. I'm sending you some internet hugs and wishing you luck. My mom used to leave them around the house when I was little. Weirdly, I found hers near her laptop too, I think. I have a feeling more often it's a cry for help and they want you to find it. But regardless, you need to ask her about it or phone a hotline for advice. You need to be loving and supportive and consistent. One of my close mates and my cousin committed suicide. The one thing they had in common was that they weren't constantly being watched during the darker times. It's not your responsibility to be on guard duty, but someone's got to, because it's not worth the risk and it could just be a short-term thing with her, until she mentally settles on a better solution, e.g. divorce. Sorry. Again, really sorry about this, man. I agree with everyone so far. Wake your dad in or call the police. My mom used to threaten suicide all the time. She would call me when I was at my dad's and say her goodbye, then I would stay on the phone all night talking her down and have to get up and go to school the next day. She did this from ages 4 on up. Finally, I stopped allowing her to have that power over me and I started to ignore her during her episodes. It worked. I don't know how that applies to you, but I can say is that I've been there and it sucks.
I'm sorry you have to experience this.
As an aside, my uncle visited my mom and it was my first time meeting him. He ended up killing himself during that. I tell that story only to emphasize that none of this is your fault. Whatever happens, remember that none of this is your fault. I hope things get better, heart. So first things first, I would look up emotional assist for your own well-being. It might help you and your brother navigate the fallout of all of this once it's over. My mother was bipolar as well, and I unfortunately suffered from this. It's when a parent places the emotional responsibility of their own feelings and problems onto the child and treats them as if they were an adult to confide in. My mother committed suicide 5 years ago. She was unhappy with her life and always wanted more. Toward the end she slowly crumbled. It was the worst thing I've ever gone through. You, however, still have time. I would call a suicide helpline. See what their advice would be. It doesn't seem like your dad much cares for anything and is rather disrespectful to your mother's feelings, and your mother has lost her will to keep fighting. She needs to know that she can start over and still chase her dreams. It's not over till it's over. Everyone in this situation definitely needs help. Your mother should see a doctor for her bipolar disorder and get on medication. It will greatly improve her outlook on life. Good luck to you and your brother. I'm sorry you're in this position. It takes a massive toll on a child of any age to witness parents arguing and then to be propping up a suicidal parent. Please reach out for help and support. Is there any family that you can get help from? Or have they stepped back and avoid the family due to the arguing? I was often torn between calling police. I still got the suicide calls from my mom years after I'd left home while I was at work, and she was over 100 kilometers from me and having her career destroyed. In hindsight, I think I should have called the police and had them do welfare checks. Other family, grandparents, aunts, etc. were turning a blind eye to all of it, including child neglect and emotional abuse. So this sucks. You are a minor, so that adds another layer of difficulty. You need to call the police and let them know you found a suicide note and think your mom will imminently hurt herself. You could also tell your dad and get him to call the police. But I don't know, based on your description of the relationship. Or call another adult family member, friend, someone. Barring all of that, you could confront your mom and tell her you don't want her to hurt herself. You love her and can't stand thinking of a world without her. Don't do this and get help for herself, even if your father does not want to go. This is not on you. Whatever happens, it is not fair for a child to have to deal with this.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.